So nothing is coincidental that I'm making my connections on Memorial Weekend. And of course, this is also around the time that the Dr. Phil show was aired. And I tell you, every single place that had some kind of, I don't know if it's like coincidental, but I've been to Fort Hood over there in Texas. I've been to Minnesota where all those riots were. I've been to all the places where all these, well, I actually haven't been to Columbine, but I've been to a lot of different places within the past that has lately been coming up in the news. And do I want to say it's coincidental, or it just so happens we have so many places that are coming up in the news that most likely most people have been to those places at some point or another? Well, I'll tell you, going to Killeen, Texas, which was, not really the planning that I had at the time, was kind of random. But me going to Ohio, and there's so much going on in Ohio. I don't know. This world's really weird. I'm trying to figure out my life. And so that's what you're seeing me, is trying to figure out my life. And in turn, you're going to see what's going on with the world, because I had a major connection to all the lockdowns, because I was pretty much locked down as a kid for the most part. A few things I would get to go socially interact with people, but for the most part, I was rebelling against everything. So I was always under a lockdown. So I understand what it's like to be under a lockdown, and it probably made me a better person, because I was always thinking, just like being in solitary confinement, people who are in solitary confinement, they strategize, and then they get the benefit of the hive minds in the general population. And that's kind of what's going on right now, is that we are being forced under some type of lockdown, which isn't a bad thing, because it's now going to have you redirect your life and not go through the same looping and try to do different things, but have the end result be the same. And so while on one hand it's like grim because of how things are playing out and rolling out, the other side of it, eventually there will be a peace and equilibrium. How long it's going to take to get there, I have no idea. So now you have to seriously understand what is going on. And I've been watching Stranger Things, and that was like, I watched it maybe a year ago, and it didn't really resonate because I wasn't looking at the world from a viral point of view. But when I started watching Stranger Things, and I'm watching it from a viral point of view, holy shit. They are telling you exactly what these viruses are, how they do control people's minds, body, mind, and spirit, how they have developed hive minds. And that's all the politics, all the religion, all the science is out there. And people are starving themselves. People are degrading. People are going off their freaking rocker. And you're like in a reality show, because reality shows are contrived too. You get organic types of situations that are already happening in people's lives, and then you go and manipulate and catalyze energy. You start adding in things that probably wouldn't be added in if it wasn't for the intention. And that's what reality shows are, whether it's the Real Housewives or the MTV, reality shows that were going on, to any of these reality shows, you name it, all of them have been manipulated by the directors, by the writers. And so I figured out, when you think about it, we have boundaries to keep law and order. But the reason why, now you're seeing that nothing is off the table, it's because there are so many ways to survive in this world, and there's so many different truths in this world, and it's all about converting energy. And so right now at this point, you're seeing a lot of energy conversion, and you're seeing some people manipulate the events, manipulate certain things to accelerate the energy conversion. Okay? And so you got to see the bigger picture here. And the whole plausible deniability, that's why it's so easy for the Rosicrucians to lay out the framework of what's going on, as well as all the tidbits of information in between, through the TV movies, through the news, through the movies in general, through the Netflix series and stuff. And so that way a person who has an eye, a person who is able to see, has the gift of sight, not just like, oh, you see stuff, but you have the gift of sight of seeing that there is a story, there's footnotes beyond just what you've seen out there. There's a major backstory to the story that's being told. And if you're able to wrap your mind around that, plausible deniability is giving both worlds a chance to live, but those that have the gift of sight will run for cover. Those that don't have the gift of sight will live their life as if nothing is going on. And that is a pretty crazy situation to deal with, because when you have the gift of sight and you know that people around you don't have the gift of sight, it is torturous. It is torturous because you can see things before they happen. Not because you're like clairvoyant and you're like seeing visions. Maybe you see them in your dreams, but you know you can predict what's going to happen when people just don't realize that when you're going out there with all these viruses circulating and they are aggressive, or you have these random people just going off the deep end with arms, people are going to be targeted. They are going to suffer some catastrophic thing, whether microbially or macro levelly, in a crowd of people. And so, I'm calling this the summer of plasmic love, because when I'm watching Stranger Things and the what do you call it? The upside down, it is basically like a liquid air that has all these little floating things that I don't know if they're like memories or if they look like little flakes of skin. It's such a trip. And that huge mind flayer looks just like a virus. And then you look at some of the characters, like in the Pirates of the Caribbean, where that pirate with all those little tentacles like an octopus, okay, that looks just like a virus. When you think about it, the virus looks like octopi. And so then when people think like, octopuses are like alien, yeah, they look like a virus and they have tentacles. And that's exactly like in the Stranger Things, the Netflix series Stranger Things. A lot of the upside down is inside some kind of like alimentary canal. It's a tunnel. It looks just like sphincter freaking muscles. And these worms that are all that look like little viruses, but they're kind of like worms that made them look a little bit more evil. But they, with the big mouths that open up and eat people and suck on the blood and take over people, and also control the minds of that little city Hawkins. And everything is based upon the lab that developed it, opened up Pandora's box and opened up the mind's eye, so to speak. And they closed it for a minute and they reopened it again. But now it's based around the Russian scientists and stuff. This is some crazy shit here, okay? And when you look at everything from a viral point of view, especially when you watch fantasy, and they're telling you the viruses need a host, and in the beginning of the show, when you look at it from a viral point of view, and that kid that was afflicted the first time when he was missing, and then you see that virus kept getting a hold of him, and then when you hurt a virus, you hurt the person. I mean, they're telling you everything about what a virus does. When you take an antiviral, you're hurting yourself. And you're also creating viral babies, which then cause so much of the life inside someone's gut. And when your alimentary canal, when they're showing you the kid releasing all of that spirit that's coming out of his mouth, that's just like releasing your spores. When the probiotic and antibiotic literally come together, and then you have now a whole slew of offspring. And that's what this pandemic is basically a Pandora's box being opened up, because you have probiotic and antibiotic coming together, literally and figuratively, and now you have new viral babies. And they're adding more to the mix, because now you hear about monkeypox, you hear about all the different antivirals that are developing, Ebola, Marburg, dengue, yellow fever, I mean, you name it, all the zoonotic viruses. And now you're seeing, there's a big picture here, and it's said through the Netflix series, through the movies. Everyone's all distracted about Top Gun. Who cares what Tom Cruise does with Top Gun? I'm not going to see that movie. That's irrelevant. That's more distraction. We should really start watching the Stranger Things on Netflix. People are like, oh, I don't watch Netflix because I don't like the fact that they're doing, that they have all these questionable material. Well, then you are closing your mind down to so much information that is letting you know what's going on. And I heard some people say, oh, I don't watch that Netflix series, Stranger Things, because I don't like how the two girls got together. Who cares? Who cares? That's the distractions. When you're that discriminatory and that biased, you will not see the bigger picture, because you have chosen to close your eyes to the bigger picture. And then you realize that, we have the certain laws that we have, whether it's like the 10 Commandments or whatever laws we have in the books to keep some kind of order. And that is relevant and relative to the simulation of the time. Now, when life changes and when things change and civilizations change, the laws are going to change. As far as physics laws, there'll be certain physics laws that will remain the same. But if they decide that, okay, we're not sphere Earth anymore, now it's flat Earth, well, then the framework of physics are going to change. But someone has got to develop that whole series of textbooks to then support a flat Earth theory or whatever, earth theory. And so now you realize that we are living in so many different simulations / civilizations, and we're going to be in these back-to-back pandemics because they did allow so much growth, so much hive-minded mentalities going on in politics, in religions, and in the scientific dogmas. And you can't stuff Pandora back in her box. Now you have to keep releasing until there is some kind of equilibrium over the land when you think about it. And most people can't wrap their mind around it because they're stuck in their validation with their friends and family, and they're stuck in that storyline. And I see it and I understand it because you know what, where I'm coming from, it is so intense. It is like, it really, you have to be autonomous and pull yourself out of those hive-minded type of group dynamics. And that is again in your family. And when you have a large family and you have brothers and sisters who are extremely influential and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, literally and figuratively, there's no fucking way you're going to pull yourself out of that hive-minded thought process. And that's why I have now pulled myself away from almost everybody except for those that understand the J juice. And even then, they have their own shit to deal with. Okay? And it's not like, we're collaborating. No, we're bouncing off each other. Some of you really actually get it, and you're not stuck in the politics, whether it's Trump or right or left wing. You're not stuck in the religion. You're not completely snowed by the religions, and you're completely understanding what's going on with the scientific side of it. And now you have to pull yourself out of the fucking public because it is dangerous out there as far as the viruses, yes, and as far as some random person popping off that you won't know or anticipate until it's too late. But most people out there they don't get it, and they don't have the gift of sight. And that's what's really sad is most people don't have the gift of sight, and so they are taking on these viruses left and right. They're not releasing, they're not blowing their nose. They have not changed their life, and I see it writing on the wall, and I'm like, shit, this food's expensive. And so I'll show you my fridge so you can see how much of cooking I did so my husband can eat. And I'm going to do this like every week because I know how expensive. I mean, look, this is all the food that I made yesterday. So that way he could eat for this whole week without spending a shit ton of money because it's $20 a pop for just one person. Okay? Food's freaking expensive. And then like Audrey was saying in the UK, they're feeding the kids grubs and insects. They're calling sustainability. No, they're starving the poor children out. We're living in a really crazy time. And you as an adult have a better chance than the children. And that's why the Stranger Things is based around the children, because it is affecting the children. Even though the children in that movie have the gift of sight and the adults are ineffectual, in reality, it's the complete reverse. The kids are going to be the most affected, and the adults will have a chance if they bring themselves up to the level of the environment. The kids, it is so, I'm telling you, it's going to be so extremely painful for them to level up to this environment that the parents have to be so fucking aware, homeschool, completely pull them out of all of the influential play dates and stuff, and realize that this world is totally completely changed. It's not about the play dates or going on to your little group things, and it's all about legislation. And no. If these kids are going to stand a chance, the parents have to be so fucking aware. They have to almost release their own demons in their own gut and do the JJ meta mentality first, and then figure out how to set their life up to be more autonomous. So the kids aren't wanting to go on the play dates and keep up with the Joneses, the Robertsons, the Smiths, and whatever. Because I'm telling you, the crowd is going to destroy you. The crowd's going to destroy a child. The crowd's going to destroy someone who's completely fucking oblivious. And that's really the truth of the matter. And it sucks. I understand some of you have kids in public school. I get it. Right now, it may not be prudent for you to take them out and do a homeschool. But I'm going to tell you, there's some shit going on. And I just don't want you guys to be caught in the crossfire, because it's not just about surviving the viruses. Now it's surviving the people around you that you have no idea been groomed for what and when and why. Well, why should you live in fear? Because at this point we're in a major reset, and there's going to be stuff happening that's going to be preempted by somebody else, and you won't know who it is, when and where, and it's ramping up. Okay, whether it's a copycat or whether it's someone actually doing it because they're groomed to do it, you will never freaking know. And you don't want to be caught in unaware like that. But again, it's like we have to understand economically what is feasible for people, and some people it's not economically feasible to do homeschooling. Okay, well, then they have to really, then you have to teach them survival mechanisms. Like when that kid said that she had to put blood on herself to look like she was dead, that's what I would have done. If I was somewhere caught where I was backed up in a corner where someone was randomly shooting, and you didn't know who it is that he shot, I would play dead. I would put blood on myself and play dead, and hope that he wasn't going to just look for anyone that's breathing. That's the thing, is that that sucks that you have to strategize that way. But if that's the case, if that is your world, that you have to strategize how to survive something like that, that's fucking crazy. Okay? That's nuts. And so then you're going to have to realize that this world is not the same, and that you're going to have to pull your kids and get them to where they are so that they can defend themselves. Because you put them in with the school system or any kind of where grown-ups don't get it, grown-ups are not going to protect them. The group is not going to protect them. I mean, you could say, well, we could try to do so. I wish that all grown-ups can protect kids, but we know that's not the reality. We know that's not the reality. And maybe at some point, our kids are going to have to fend for themselves where they are right now. But do we want to give them a chance to let them know that this world is dangerous, and that once you understand how this world is, then you can go out, but you have to know your surroundings, you have to know the exit points. You have to know how to survive any kind of situation if you want to live like in this socially dynamic lifestyle that really is dwindling, that is going to be more of a war zone and a potential. And also, someone could just want to see people react and just shout out, fire, in a movie theater type of thing. That's what happened over there at Barclays Stadium. Someone said there's a random shooter, and there wasn't one, but someone got their jollies off of scaring people because they wanted to see the reaction. They want to see the headlines. Okay, we have some crazy ass people in this world, and so you have to come to terms with that. Believe me, I have, and I'm just like, oh my god. And so it confirms everything I already know, which means that shopping early in the morning. Not only does it save me from getting a whole viral upload, but then I don't deal with too many people. And I'm very wary of strangers. Very wary of strangers. Okay, and all of you should be too. And especially in this environment. So this is a Memorial Weekend to remember. And it's not coincidental that something happened on, the last couple weeks. Sorry about that. But it's been, my husband's mowing the lawn and stuff. But I've been coughing up mucus left and right. And it's because there's so many viruses in the atmosphere. So many of them. And they do mutate. And if you're not releasing them and coughing them out, they are incubating, and you don't know what kind of havoc they're going to wreak inside when all the conditions are right. So you guys, just be warned and watch the Stranger Things. Watch it from beginning all the way to the last season. And look at it from a viral point of view. Watch The Walking Dead. Watch Van Helsing and the Vampire Diaries. Those all have everything to do with viruses and what's going on with this world today. And then you will have the gift of sight. And when you have that gift of sight, you can't go back to being blind anymore. It'll be impossible. And that's the thing, is that once you do the J Juice and you start watching those shows, you have the gift of sight. But the world will not be the same anymore, and you'll be cringing every single time you watch your friends and family do shit. But that's okay. You save yourself. You can't save anyone else. All right, bye.